Hi everyone. I decided that I was going to share what I know about 5 different techniques of glass engraving, all on one glass and all one single design. The techniques I am going to demonstrate are laser, drill, sandblast, diamond point and acid etch. And there are several different ways of engraving even with each technique, but I'm going to try and keep it pretty basic. This is a very basic flower I have downloaded from a royalty-free website which I subscribe to. And it's a very simple black and white drawing. It downloaded as a JPEG and I have traced it in my drawing program in order to make it super sharp, and then I can adjust it if I want in any way, shape or form. And then I have exported it to a application that belongs to the Laserpecker 2, which is my little choice of laser machine. I say little because it is very dinky. It is a super little machine and I am very new to it, so I'm still learning. And as you well know, I would never use laser on glass, and I would never suggest that you do, because when you compare it to normal drill engraving, it's like chalk and cheese, and I have seen some pretty dire examples of it out there, and some people have brought their glass to me saying, please can you fix this laser engraving? Generally, of course, my answer is nope. So for research purposes only, I am going to engrave glass with this laser, and we are going to have some fun comparing it. Now there are many videos out there on how to engrave with a laser, specifically Laserpecker 2, this little item that I've got. So I'm not going to go into all the details. I've got this glass on a roller at the moment, and what it means, it's just going to turn the glass while I'm working on it. I've had to black it out, well, purple it out in this case, with a chalk pen, as you can see I'm holding there. It's a chalk marker, just so that the glass is not shiny. It won't work on a shiny surface, at least a very shiny surface. And so this gives it a nice matte surface to work on and is very easy to clean off. Now I did notice that the glass, it was turning, but it had slipped a little bit somehow. I should have put the little rubber rings on it to keep it steady. It nearly went out the crayon there. But as you can see, it has certainly gone through the chalk very easily, and that looks pretty dull, and therefore it's worked on the glass. So cleaning it off, yeah, it is a bit wibbly wobbly and it's got some marks on it. Not really sure what they're from, but you can see the ghastly sort of chipped edges, not particularly classy looking, but it's an engraving and it's on glass. You can see it. So basically I've stored it in my app, and it can also be controlled through your PC. So this is the setup. I can't show you everything because it needs to be connected to the device in order for me to show you all the actual ins and outs of what it's telling the machine. But it's basically all there as per the phone app, so it's really quite a simple process. So this is a quick flash at a very, very tatty old piece of paper, which I have got my circles on, marked in very useful divisions. And because we are using 5 different techniques, I'm going to mark 5 places on the glass. Actually, after I've done the hand engraving, the rest will all rub off anyway, and so I will just remark where the other 3 will be. So I've printed the basic artwork this same size as the laser work, and I have placed it underneath the second mark of the 5, and I have used a tape. I've also created a line going around so that I can have them all level. That's pretty straightforward. You'll see that in my other videos. And so the tops of the flowers will all be at the same level. And underneath the image is some black carbon paper. It's very, very simple. I think what we used to call pencil carbon is what you used to put in old typewriters. But it is very useful for transferring an image onto the glass. And normally it's if you can't get into the glass. For example, a decanter or a vase or something like that you can't get into. But the reason I'm using it on this glass rather than tracing it through the glass is because the other flower had engraved too low towards the base, and so it's not so easy to trace through because now the base is in the way, and therefore it's much easier just to trace it onto the top of the glass as it comes down into the base. And anyway, it's a good way of explaining once again to you how I trace through an image. So to mark this glass, pressing hard with a dotting pen, which is basically for nail art. If you look that up on the internet, they're very, very cheap, and they come with various size sort of ball ends. And just draw over your drawing, and the carbon will make the mark on the glass. Here you can see I'm going to be doing just that, and I'm just sticking basically to the outlines, and I'm going to make it fairly rough. I am not sticking absolutely exactly to all the shapes and lines, just roughly the same. As you can see, a little bit messy, but it's fine. That's all I needed, was something basically along those lines. You will also see the level that I've drawn around the glass, and also some of the other marks out of the 5 that I've created. Interestingly, I happen to have 5 techniques at my fingertips. I would love to show you copper wheel engraving, but I do not do copper wheel engraving, and therefore we're sticking to 5, which is great because it's an odd number and you will not see one flower directly in front of the other. Okay, you know me. This is how I start, with a Dura White or a simple stone, going around the outlines. You can use a diamond if you want. It really doesn't matter, especially on something like this that's so simple. I've got a bit of white paper behind it so that you guys especially can see the dark line a bit clearer. I could see it fairly clearly without the white paper with my super light. Of course, I've got a serious reader's light. It's absolutely magnificent. I have got a video on that light as well. It worries some engravers, this little burr, because I don't run it fast. You need to keep it running relatively slow, and it wants to skip and jump over the glass. Of course, it doesn't really matter at the moment because we're only marking it just so that we know where we're going to put the diamond. And so it doesn't matter if it's a little bit lumpy, but you can see that I am turning the glass quite a lot. It just is an easier move towards me and then away from me, towards me and away from me, rather than side to side. When you go side to side, as I've said before, it becomes a little bit trickier. Trickier to keep it smooth, that is. Carbon comes off very, very easily. And out with a lovely big diamond and lots of water. Of course, you don't have to use water, but it just makes life a lot easier. The cut smoother, and it prolongs the life of the diamond. This particular diamond is a sintered diamond. As you know, this is my favorite sort of diamond now, and it is, of course, diamond grit all the way through. So it's not going to wear out for a very long time. Super efficient, and this is a medium grit, so it's not too rough. Does a pretty nice job. Again, I'm turning the glass, making it a little bit easier. I'm pulling the strokes towards me. I'm going relatively deep on the outside and flicking upwards. I hadn't decided yet whether I was going to actually go to town and shade this flower, but I decided as I was going along that I'll probably just keep it black and white, keep everything simply black and white to match the laser engraver. And it was funny just making it up as I went along, really. Of course, it's rather fun having the flowers near the bottom of the glass because the glass gets thicker and thicker. Just the way that it's made, it's thicker nearer the bottom. And so you can really go to town if you're engraving deeply, with not too many worries about any stress lines or going through the thickness of the glass. You can see that I am running my thumb over the engraving quite regularly. That is me simply not only wiping the dust away. It's more, in fact, me feeling the depth. Of course, I'm using a larger diamond first, and then if there are any delicate little points, of course I get a smaller diamond to touch those up. It's always good to use the largest diamond in a large area, unless you want lots of little streaks and textures. There is an instant comparison of the two. I must admit I'm quite impressed with how the laser stands out. I just can't stand the process, but as I say, all in the name of research. Here I've got a slightly smaller burr, diamond again, medium grit, and just touching up some edges and points. I decided to use this little tiny burr. It's sort of got a flat top to it, and it creates a nice groove down the middle of the petals. It is definitely a good idea to use water when you are doing this. There we are, nice and bright. So now I want to show you a depth comparison. Just a surface comparison. Anything. Is there anything? With my white tack, absolutely nothing. Nothing from the laser engraving. It is the weirdest thing ever. So using exactly the same surface with the white tack and pressing the same into the drill engraving, and as you can imagine, it is quite a lot deeper. You can change the depth of the laser engraver, but quite frankly I did try that and it is pretty grotty. So keeping that light surface is much better. So that's the end of part 1. I am actually looking forward to showing you the other 3 processes. Thanks for watching, guys. Until the next video, bye for now.